You are going to love my recipe for mini chocolate hazelnut friands. They're dense and chocolatey, and it starts with hazelnuts. I have 1.5 cups of whole hazelnuts that have been toasted. I'll add these to my food processor along with my other dry ingredients. And that includes 1.25 cups of all-purpose flour, and for the full chocolate factor, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. And in a recipe like this, I love using Dutch processed cocoa powder. Now, for a little flavoring, I'm gonna use espresso powder. It's like a finely ground, strong coffee powder. 2 teaspoons of the espresso powder, 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. I'll pulse everything together until the hazelnuts are ground as finely as I can get them. I have 2 bowls, one with 2 cups of sifted icing sugar. In the other, I have 6 egg whites. These 2 ingredients define a friand. There's no friand recipe without them. So I'm going to add my flour, cocoa, hazelnut mixture to my icing sugar. And I have 3/4 cup of melted butter. And I'll pour that in and give this a stir. There we go. And it is a rough, crumbly mixture at this point. But once it's evenly blended, then I can add my egg whites. Now, before I add my egg whites, I want to lighten them up a little bit. Just make them frothy. I'll pour this into my base and just stir until it's moistened. Beautiful. You can really see those ground hazelnuts in there. Now I'm ready to portion these up and bake them off. I've greased the tin and I'll just scoop in the batter. These are ready for the oven, and it takes a hot oven, 400 degrees, and these take about 20 minutes. Let's see if the friands are done. Yes, the skewer comes out clean, so I know they're fully cooked. Now, because that oven was 400 degrees, I like to turn them out right away. There we go. I'll just set these aside to cool, and I have some that have already had a chance to cool completely. And yes, you could leave them just like this, but I thought, you know what? Let's add a little polish. How about a ganache glaze? I've got 4 ounces of chocolate here that I'm melting. To set it so that it holds in place and has a little shine, you add a tablespoon of butter and a couple of teaspoons of corn syrup. The corn syrup adds the gloss. The butter adds just the right amount of set. Now, this step is simple and fun. I just dip the top of each friand and just let it set. While I let these set, I'm gonna get another layer of chocolate ready, this time for a white chocolate drizzle right on top. All that takes is a little amount of white chocolate, 1.5 ounces. To melt the chocolate, I've got it in a bowl over a pot, and the water's not even simmering, it's just generating a bit of steam. While I'm letting the chocolate slowly melt, let's get a parchment paper cone ready for the piping. Now, this is a great pastry chef technique. To make a disposable piping cone out of parchment paper, you cut a triangle piece of parchment, then take your outside points, wrap them around each other, and bring them up to that center point of your triangle. Then you can shimmy to tighten that point, and then just fold over where the 3 points of the triangle meet. That will keep the cone in place and ready for filling with chocolate. Now I can pour this into my parchment paper cone. and fold it from the top. And then I'll trim the end. So now I'm just gonna do a little drizzle back and forth on each. There we go. Don't those just look so sweet? This has me inspired to get a little more decorative.